All right, welcome to January 11th. Let's do a quick sector review. So today was the US CPI, which came mostly in line. But you can see there was a sell-off this morning. If we break into the hourly chart, we can see that S&P touched the 4,800 mark or very close to it, and then sold off down into the AVWAP. You can see we did a touch the AVWAP at 47.40, almost touched it, and bought right back up, and also retook the 5-day and I believe this is the 20-day moving average on the chart. So still holding in, and it could be because the major option expiration for January is the 19th. So we might need to hold on for that in order for volatility to kick in and really give us a direction on which way the market wants to go. But until that, it could be some sideways action. So yeah, a sell-off to start the day and then bought right back up starting lunch hour. S&P, we already went through. Now RSP was interesting. So equally weighted S&P. That could not take back the 5-day and the 20-day. So it closed just below that. So something to keep an eye on. Maybe there's strength concentrated on certain stocks in the S&P, and it is not equally distributed across the spectrum. QQQ also had almost touched the AVWAP at the 403. I think it bounced around the 404 level. And bounced right back up, and actually today's close is a little bit higher than yesterday's close. So still continuing the bullish kind of trend here with the check back, a good check back today, and it could open up the door to a further movement into the 420 zone. I think I just gotta correct this a bit here. So yeah, this could about the 418 zone. It could QQQ I could see running to if this trend continues. XLK, not much happening today at the close. We're just up 0.45 from yesterday's. Yeah, so the close itself was above yesterday's close, but you can see from open to close there was not much movement, although a pretty volatile day for XLK. XLP starting to get into that sell zone that we talked about, but still holding on to the 5-day here. With the strength coming in also from the rest of the market. SMH, one of the stronger sectors today with NVIDIA again gaining some percentage points today. So yeah, SMH closes right, basically flat for the day as with respect to the open, but it is closing higher than yesterday's close was down here at the 172, and it's closing higher at about 0.5%. IWM, nothing to take home really here. We looked like we were gonna break down here, but it was bought back up, but still was not able to claim the 5-day. And same over here, mid caps a little bit closer to the 5-day, but not being able to claim that back. XBI biotech, so that sold off from this sell area that we had highlighted. The trend continues, the upward trend still continues as long as the 20-day is intact. If we look at the weekly, we can see that it is still above the 5-week as well. The 5-week is sitting at 88.51, and we're currently at closing around 90.65 level. So yeah, so still good in terms of the trend, although a closure into this area and then taking this area and moving forward would be much more constructive for XBI. Transports pushed right back up this week, but we are getting into the 5-week over here, so that will act as resistance. And same with industrials. Utilities actually sold from this sell zone. That's why we don't like charts like this where there's so much selling pressure. At any point it could get rejected, and then we lose our trade. So want to be with the trend and with least amount of resistance coming forward in the trend. XLV still looks healthy. The trend still looks healthy. It did, I think, touch about 139 something Was it today or yesterday? But it has bounced back and maintaining that breakout level here. XLF contesting with that 38 level with the resistance above. ITB actually looks strong, and that's why it's marked in green. Took back the 5-week this week. It came down to if we look at the daily chart, came down to this gap level here, and pushed right back up, and now closing this day today, 2 days in a row above the 5-day and the 20-day. So watch out for breakouts in the home builder sectors, and in your scans, kind of keep the home builder sector in one of the top priority. XLY, consumer discretionary, is above the 5-day curling up a bit, which is good to see. If we look at the weekly chart, we haven't taken back the 5-week yet. So until we're able to do that, XLY still remains a bit on the weaker side. IWC microcaps contesting with a lot of overhead over here with the 200-week and the 5-week at the same point. So it has to have more bullish momentum, more buyers come through in order for it to get through that. XLE. So today we actually are closing just above yesterday's close, 0.18% above, but the trend still remains down in that. Metals and mining, since we are below the 5-week here and kind of in this formation here, it remains to be seen if this is a consolidation and further breakout, or is this a topping formation and a rollover. So a no-go here in the XME so far, but keep an eye out on that. USD CAD actually went all the way up to 346 and then sold back down because the market pushed up after lunch hour today. Not much to see in the single stocks, but one of the interesting stocks was CRISPR is getting into kind of this resistance area, and it could consolidate further here and break out. So something to keep an eye on. CRISPR. ARM sold back down. So if you did enter this trade, a loss of 5 weeks so far means that you should be stopping out at this point, and you could re-enter on the 71 break, which would be the retaking the 5-week again. Tesla is still closing a bit weak below the 200-day moving average. If we look at the daily, you can see we opened at the 200-day and we are closing below the 200 days. So still looking weak on a kind of relatively stronger day or a bounce back in equities today. It was not able to bounce back or regain much of the momentum. So Tesla definitely looking a bit weaker and closing down about 3% on the day. AMD took and almost met the AVWAP over here, the buying AVWAP, you can see, and then pushed back right up from this gap level and closing at the 148 level. So not a bad close here on the chip stocks. Similar to NVIDIA, where we have this kind of, if we go down the hourly, we can see we have this consolidation zone that NVIDIA is in, and a further breakout from here could act as a bull flag and a further breakout. Today we're not able to get above the 550, and mostly could also be because of the options. A lot of options, probably a lot of calls setting at 550 acting as resistance. Shop, not much to report, but other than the fact that we have 200-week kind of acting as overhead resistance, so you could push an alert above the 200-week to get notified when it decides to overcome that resistance. So yeah, that's about it for today. A quick review, but an interesting day, volatile day overall, but closing almost close to flat. So yeah, keep an eye out on what sectors are doing well when we have these sell-offs and what is showing strength. That will give you ideas on where the buyers are sitting at this point.